Hello guys, how you all doing? Let me know if the audio's good. I've had a few issues with it. I think it's to do with the connection just as you put it in the phone. Okay, so wait for a few more people to come in the house. It's just a roundup basically. I'm leaving Newcastle tomorrow. So come on people. All of a sudden it says 0, then loads come in and loads come in all at once. So let's hope so. Soon as I see the first person in and they're commenting, if you're there guys, comment, let me know you're in the room, let me know if the audio's good. I can see the numbers just coming up now. Hello there guys. I'm really squinting to see who's in the room. Hi guys, can you hear me okay? Give us a thumbs up or let me know that the audio's good. Oh, we are most definitely in a room. I'm in the hotel room. It's my last night in the hotel. Can you hear me okay, guys? Yeah, audio good. Right, thank you. And we've got about 50 people in. Right, it's my final night in Newcastle. I'm going to be getting the train home to Stockport. I just wanted to give a little bit of a roundup over the last few days and talk about the Darlington nurses case and then all the other videos that we've got lined up. So there wasn't much happening outside. There was no mainstream media or anything like that today. There was a few people I did a bit of a live stream outside in the morning and I said, I'll see if I can get inside the tribunal. And I was fortunate. It's not the biggest of rooms. And of course, there's been a lot of interest in these, you know, a lot of people have wanted to get in there. I wouldn't have got in yesterday, but today I managed to get the very last seat right next to the door, so that was good. So I got to listen to one of the nurses, nurse Bethany Hutchinson. She's the tall blonde lady. She was kind of like, I'm a bit hesitant to say the ringleader. She was more of the coordinator leading, you know, the fight of the nurses. And it was quite interesting, sat there. Now, I'm going tomorrow, but this is only day 2 of a 4-week tribunal, you know. So, and people think, I mean, it's going to cost a fortune. Why is it going to, I can understand having been in there now why it's going to take 4 weeks, because it was a full day dedicated to Bethany's testimony and cross-examination. And you've got 7 nurses. And then you've got all the hotel management as well. Did I say hotel management? I've got hotel in the brain. All the NHS staff management. I have taken a few names. Some of the names were mentioned. I wanted to know who was behind this, who was pulling the strings. I haven't researched them yet, so I won't say any of the names yet, but they're kind of like coming out in the public domain. So, yeah, Bethany gave her evidence, was cross-examined. I mean, they go into so much detail, like the layout of the locker room, where meeting rooms are, how long you've spent in the locker room with this man called Rose. The cross-examiner, interestingly, didn't refer to the man called Rose as a she. He just used the name that he's adopted, Rose, all the time. And of course, Bethany was calling him a he because it's proper sex-based pronouns. So it's really, there was nothing dramatic about the day, but what I didn't know what role this man had at the hospital. So this is interesting. This is probably quite new news to you all, breaking news on the channel. As with the Sandy Peggy case, it was a doctor who called himself Beth Upton. So that was the one with the Scottish NHS 5, I think it was. So the guy that calls himself Rose, all right, I think Rose Henderson he calls himself. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the same. I remember it being a similar name to Hutchinson, which was Bethany's surname. So turns out that he's some kind of porter or an orderly, because the ward that Bethany and a lot of the nurses worked at was a ward where patients would come out of theatre and then be delivered up to, it's kind of like post-operative care. And this guy called Rose, all right, he used to wheel the patients up between theatre and that ward. So it's a kind of like low IQ job, and it just made me think, you know, he wants to go into the hospital, you know, wheeling passengers up and down and wanting to use the changing. Why would he need to change anyway, really? It's not like nurses have like the scrubs which they shouldn't go home in, they change them in the hospital. It's, for me, I just thought the way my mind works, he just got that job he knows the policy of these institutions that are captured, yeah, and he just wanted to go perving on the women in there. What's that in the Chatham Road between two wards? So yeah, so that's what I understand that he does. Now he's going to have to give evidence at some point, and I tried to find out what day he was giving evidence because I would come up for that, but nobody seems to know. But it was really great for the first time, as the tribunal used to, you know, they have to break and then go back and have breaks, and we all gathered in the corridors of the tribunal centre. And I got to chat to Bethany and a few of the nurses, and they're just, you know, fantastic women. You know, Beth's a mother, you know, her husband was there with her, and they just want to go and they're like nurses, professionals that want to go and do the job. And then, you know, this ideology gets pumped into the institutions, as I've said, long march through the institutions. And yeah, and it's just really disrupted their life. So yeah, and it was really interesting, the fact that there's two universities in Newcastle, and the university was right over opposite the road, just right next to it. And all the students were walking up and down yesterday, seeing all the signs, you know, rolling their eyes. And we had some interactions with him. A lot of you would have seen the videos. So it was, for me, it just struck me that there was the indoctrination centre, you know, where they're going to be indoctrinated, not educated. And the inevitable fallout of that indoctrination, which is going to make its way into the workplace and the institutions, was being ironed out, or was being fought over or battled against in the building right opposite. So I live streamed. I didn't have my normal, I did bring my GoPro cameras, but it's very difficult to juggle different kind of cameras when you're live streaming as well. So I just did all the recording on my camera. And within those live streams, we had some great interactions. So some of you would have seen the video yesterday. I think it's titled, let me just get the title up on the screen now. It's entitled, Kelly J. Keane Destroys Unhinged Man at Darlington Nurses Trial Protest. And on the thumbnail, it says chaos outside the court, and his eyes are bulging and he's sticking his finger up like that. So that was one video that I released yesterday. I've released another one today. It's not done fantastic as far as views go. Let me just refresh and tell you how many it's actually, let me have a look. It's had 8,700 views compared to yesterday's, which has had nearly 70,000. But it's a really important one. So if you've not seen it, after this this live stream, go and check it out. It's entitled Kelly J. Keane and I Confront Trans-Identified Male Outside Newcastle Tribunal Court. And the thumbnail title says, I'm a trans woman. And you've got this huge guy, and I'm talking, for those from my generation, you remember Giant A-Stacks from the wrestling days on World of Sport. He's bigger than that. So it's this guy's got a big hoodie on. He must be 6'4", I would say, and he must weigh about 25 to 30 stone. Oh, Rob on Ross, thank you, mate, for the donation, much appreciated. And there's an iconic picture doing the rounds on X, formerly Twitter, where Kelly J. Keane is stood with a microphone up to him, and she's telling him not to go in women's spaces, and she's tiny. This guy is 4 times the size of her. So there's this iconic picture. There's a bigger picture, that the full picture is I'm stood just behind Kelly, but it's been clipped to miss me out, and it looks better that way that I'm not in it, because it just shows her up against this big man. Now, what I didn't realise at the time when I first started speaking to him was that there's some kind of mental health comorbidity going on with this guy. I think he's extremely autistic, and he's been fed this lie by the gender ideologists. He's obviously a big, obese, overweight guy, not masculine at all, even though he's so big. And when he was answering, you could see he was thinking about, what have I been told to say? And then he was repeating, you know, the usual playbook, the usual trans playbook. So when I started to chat, I went over to him because he questioned me about my signs. I was going to speak to another woman that had a sign, a young, and I'll talk about her in a bit, a young woman in a late teens, early 20s, with a sign saying trans rights are human rights, with a trans colour, written in the trans colours. So I went to speak to her, but this big guy said, why did you choose those words on that sign, which says trans women are men? So it turns out, so I turn around and look at him. I didn't even know that he'd be identifying as being trans, because he just looked like a man, even though he had long hair and a ponytail. That, you know, and you know, he had hair coming out of his chin and everything. You know, he couldn't look any less like a woman. But you know what? After I got chatting, when I started to question him quite forcefully, because he was saying, "Oh, sex and gender are 2 completely different things." And I said, "Well, why are you using gender to cross sex-based boundaries?" And he was then picking his brain to say, you know, the usual lines, the usual trans playbook. And I basically said to him, you know, I said, you're a predator because you're crossing female or sex-based boundaries. And it was at that point, after I'd been speaking to him for about 30 seconds or a minute, Kelly J. Keane come in, and then she just basically told him, you do not go into women's spaces. And then when she carried on speaking to him, it soon became apparent that this guy had these kind of comorbidities. He seemed, in Kelly J. Keane's words, you seem like a vulnerable person, which I suppose he was. But he told me, you know, he goes into loads of women's spaces and he shouldn't be doing that, and he was told categorically that he shouldn't be going in that. And then he comes up with some arguments that, you know, he's vulnerable in male toilets. And he was telling about times when he's been attacked in toilets. Now, I don't think that was true. Who knows? I can't say. But, you know, men don't usually attack other men in toilets unless it's, you know, in a drunken brawl, you know, in a bar at the end, you know, in a pub or something like that. That's when I've seen fights in toilets. It doesn't normally happen in cases other than that. Yeah, so that video's gone out. See, what I've done, because I've released the first York video, I want to just go back to the York videos. I've released part 1, and I'll give you a teaser for part 2 with that woman, you know, who she's quite happy that now, very pleased that Charlie Kirk's not on this planet. I don't like to mix videos from 2 different locations, but I've ended up doing it on this occasion because these ones from Newcastle were quite current and I wanted to put them out there. So I was going to put the York video out tonight, but I'm in Newcastle, so I've got those Newcastle videos out. So part 2 and part 3 of the York videos are going to come out on Saturday and Sunday. And then I will get back onto doing the rest of the videos from Newcastle. What have we got there? So I speak for about an hour and a half. So I'm going to split the video up into 2 with this one girl that she's the absolute epitome of a poisoned Generation Z, you know, youth. She's just one of these Be Kind Brigade. She thought she was clever. She thought she knew a lot when it comes to the ideology, but they never do. They always use the intersex and then they know nothing about it. So that all becomes apparent in the video, so you'll see that. And then she gets joined by, you know, a gaggle of youth from the university. You know, I think a few of them are a little bit drunk as well. So that goes on for quite a while too. So those videos are going to come out next week. So yeah, I just wanted to update you on it all, guys. I'm absolutely knackered. I've been, you know, up early editing videos and things like that. And I'm going to get an early night tonight and get an early train back to Stockport tomorrow. What else is coming up? So yeah, I'm having a weekend off this weekend. I'm not going out into any city up and down the country. I've got to go and visit my parents. They live in Wales on Anglesey. So I'm having the weekend off, but don't worry, there's going to be videos released. I've got enough videos released to cover the whole weekend and the whole of next week. So you won't be missing out. When I say the whole of next week, I'm actually going to be going down to London on the 29th, which is the Wednesday. So put that in your diary. I will be live streaming from Westminster. So I think all the videos I've got lined up, I'll try and get them out before Wednesday. And then I'll be live streaming from outside Westminster Magistrates Court. Graham Linehan's going to be there. Obviously, it's his trial. Sue's going to be with me. So I'm going to be live streaming out there. You'll probably get we'll probably get a visit from Mr. Menno, if you know him, because he lives in London. He covered it with me before, so we've got that. And then we're staying in London until the Saturday because there's the big march. So there's a big women's rights march called 199 Days Later. I'm looking round because I've got a leaflet somewhere. Just give me 1 second. So this is quite big, guys. So here we go. That's a leaflet. So if you're not in London, if you live near Cardiff or you live near Edinburgh, okay, you got that. You can go to any one of those. Right. So basically, I don't know if you could read that good or not. I'll read it to you. Okay. It's about the Supreme Court ruling. Okay. It's 199 days since the Supreme Court ruling. Okay, so and what it says is, we demand that the Supreme Court ruling is implemented in full without delay across all government departments, services and policies. Okay, so like I said, all these woke-tards that have come from the millennials and the Gen Z that have been through university, they're writing the policies. They're writing these inclusive policies, and that's what's being argued about with the Darlington nurses. Yeah, so it's in Parliament Square in London. So if anybody's watching from London or can get down to London for that, this is one of these occasions where I don't mind advertising where I'm going to be, you know, because there's going to be plenty of allies there. But there is a trans rights group, right, called Bashback. All right, some of you may have heard of them, some of you may not. They attacked a building where there was a women's rights conference going on just a couple of weekends ago down in Brighton, and they smashed the building up. They're a violent trans activist group, and apparently they're going to be there to counter-protest this. So there's going to be lots of them down there. So if any of you guys can make it and support these women, then please do, because I'm going to be there. You know, and I was quite pleased to find out that Bashback are going to be there too. Brilliant. You know, show your faces, but they'll all be covered up like the cowards that they actually are. You know. So yes, that's coming up. So there's lots and lots going on. Take Mr. T with me. Yeah, guys, did you see who says that? Kiwi Joe. Rob or Ross, thank you so much for the donation. It's a sorry I miss you in Blackpool, mate. I caught up with the cartel ladies and Ned just after you parted ways. Maybe next time. Yeah, I will be paying another visit to Blackpool at some point, mate. So thank you so much for the donation. Right, I lost my track then. What was I talking about? So I talked about London, didn't I? We're going to be down there in London. Talked about Bashback being there. So yeah, if you're around and you can make it down to London, that'd be fantastic. I just want to give a big shout out as well to Dean and also to James from up here from Tyneside. They came to see me outside the Tribunal yesterday, and also James came today as well. It was great spending time with you guys, having a chinwag and having a brew. Really appreciate your support. Dean's got a really quite a significant story, and he told it on the live stream. What I'll do, I'll clip that video, the actual chat with Dean, and I'm going to put it up on the channel as well. So Dean's got a young son who's in primary school. I think he might be in secondary school now. He's 11 now. When he was 10 years old, it's this RHSE, what is it, relationship something sex education, and they're teaching his young son about wet dreams and things like that. And as a concerned parent, who's that? Thank you for the donation there. What's that? Paul Warren, I can't read it properly. Thank you so much. And as well, and thank you for the donation. Really appreciate it, guys. I do. It's amazing. I'm overwhelmed. So Dean told me the story about his young lad and the battles that he's having with the teachers at school. So yeah, I won't say too much about it. I'll clip the video and I'll put that up in the next coming week or something like that. Right, guys, what time we're on? 8 o'clock. It's only a short one, this. It's only a short live. I just wanted to kind of because I did say this morning when I did the live, I said I'll be giving you a roundup this afternoon, but that never happened. So I just thought I'd give you a roundup of what happened today or the last 2 days and what's coming up. But the support from you lot has been amazing. I can't believe how the channel's grown. Let me just, before I go, let's just have a look at the subscriber count now. So I think I hit 50,000 just as I arrived in Newcastle. It's 2 days later now and I'm on 54,000. So it's rising rapidly with all the videos, and I'm keeping pumping them out there. For all you guys, when I do that, please give it a thumbs up and put a comment on there. That helps the algorithm, and that really helps spread the news. And we're getting viewers now from all over the world, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. We're onwards, 54,000. It's 50,000 subscribers in 6 months, which is amazing. Oh, one Sultana, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you know what I do in the videos. So there's a mixture of people that are really concerned about this issue, and there's also people that just want to be entertained as well, and I absolutely get that. I really do. For me, the more viewers, no matter, you're all just as valuable to me. If you're watching and you're sharing, it's going to get that information out there. So as you know, I try and do clickbaity type thumbnails. I like to do clickbaity hooks at the beginning of the videos, because a lot of people just want to see these idiots shouting at me or just making themselves look stupid. So I'll do that, but I'll also put educational stuff in there too. And I've got another video from York, which was one of the main reasons we went there, was because I went to the UK Column Conference and I spoke to, I would suggest they are experts in their field. I spoke to Tess Laurie. Oh, some Navy guy from the USA. Is that USA? Oh, yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the donation, mate. Yeah, really, they're experts in the field. Dr. Tessalori and Sandy Adams, and they talk about, you know, how they talk about the globalization. They put meat on the bones of the globalist agenda and how it's all connected. So they've got much more knowledge on that. I think I've got a bit of knowledge on that, but they've got so much more than me. So I'm going to be bringing that to you. I think on Monday. I think I'm going to get that video out there for Monday. So make sure you watch that one, guys. Right. Just read a few messages then before I go. Steve, you so much deserve more recognition. Well, I'm getting a lot of recognition, and I really appreciate that. I really do. Keep the videos coming. Yeah, I'm just pumping the videos out all the time. I got an email from YouTube saying I'm in the top 10% of content uploaders. So I'm right up there. You know, I mean, how many millions of accounts are there on YouTube? And for the number of uploads that I'm doing, I'm in that top 10%. So I'm going to keep them coming, but what I don't want to do really is compromise quality for quantity, you know. So I'm not just going to put any shit out there if it's not worthy of it. And there's stuff that I have held back and not put out because I don't think it's good enough. Oh, was Fab seeing me in the back of GB News today? What I actually did was I spoke to, God, I forgot his name, the GB News guy that was there. What was his name? Was it Jason? And he said, right, I'm going to go live now, because we were chatting. And I said, all right. I said, is it okay? I didn't do it purposely. I didn't do it without asking him. I said, if you're going to do it, you've just got a grey building in the background. Everyone's gone in. There's only me and him left outside. And I said, should I just wander around? Is it okay if I just put my boards on and wander around in the background? And he said, yeah, go for it. So I'm presuming it's that what you saw. I saw a BBC, not a BBC, I do apologise, I saw an ITV news report on the Darlington nurses, and not once did they say it was a man in a female changing room or a male in a female changing room. They said that Rose was a transgender woman in a woman's changing room. So you can see the language there. It's confusing purposely, right? It's purposely confusing, and it doesn't sound that bad to the public. So you know, remember the public that doesn't know a lot about this topic. If they say a transgender woman in a woman's changing room, it doesn't sound bad. But if you say a man in a woman's changing room, of course that will prick their ears up and they'll start to take notice. It's done on purpose, and this is why people are turning around from the bloody mainstream media, because they wasn't lying, but they put a spin on it, didn't they? They put a slant. They didn't say it as it is. Yeah, so that's what they do. It's play on words. Yeah, who's that? Vampire Rabbit. Typical news playing on words. So proud of you, Steve. Thank you, Mikey Babe. Is it Mikey Babe? Yeah. Yeah, the words they use softens the issue. Absolutely. Be careful, Steve. There's a pack of furries on the loose. I've only ever seen the furries in Manchester. I don't know if there's many up here in Newcastle. Thanks, Lisa, for putting the Buy Me a Coffee link up there. Who was Mr. Teammate? He did tell me a name, but it was a foreign sounding name. He was the guy that was the security guard in the background. Now here's the thing, there's going to be nobody outside pretty much protesting this or supporting the nurses for the next 4 weeks, really. The media scum was at the beginning, and it'll probably be right at the end as well. There may be a little bit when the man called Rose goes to give his evidence, if we ever find out when that is. But they sent this guy, Mr. T, as we nicknamed him, to be security. So he's outside contractor, he's not part of the actual Newcastle court. They sent him up from London, and he's there for 4 weeks. So there's nobody there today, and he just stood there, you know, with his earphones in on his phone, just stood in the doorway all day, poor guy. I say poor guy, you know, he's going to be getting paid for it. Yeah, but a massive guy, massive man mountain, big arms. I was chatting to him and asking him what kind of training he does, obviously bodybuilding, and I was saying what kind of martial arts does he do and stuff, and he was telling me all that. Yeah, but he's a dead nice guy. None of the students or that crazy fella from the video would have kicked off, because the Mr. T guy was just stood there. You know, his arms were the same size as my legs, and I've got quite chunky legs. Right, guys, I'm not going to waffle. I've waffled on now. It's been half an hour. I'm getting tired. I think all the videos are ready to go uploaded. I've got a little bit more work to do on them, actually. If you want to follow what's going on, obviously most of this is done on YouTube. Go on to X, check out my X account, which again is just Edge of the Matrix, or the handle is @Judge148. So you can check that. There's the Darlington nurses. Let me try and find it. They've got an X account. Oh, let me just. It's just come up on my screen. If you do have an X account, check out Mary Kate Delvey. So that's Mary Kate is one word, spelled MaryCate. So Mary Kate, and Delvey is Delvey. She's absolutely fantastic on this trans ideology. She's a bit of a comedian, and she takes the piss out of all the trans-identifying males on there, the troons. And there's some really good stuff. She digs deep into all their social media accounts, and it basically highlights that they're all a bunch of autogynophiles, you know, getting the euphoria boners, going into women's spaces. She doesn't have to say that. They're saying it themselves, and she's just showing it all. Yeah, so that's Mary Kate Delvey, @Mary-Kate Delvey. Really fantastic. But there's loads of others. Let me just, if I just go onto my account now, I'll have a look. If you want to, another real good one is called Redux. So they've got their own website as well, but on X it's Redux, REDUXX. So type in Redux, or the handle is @ReduxMag, MAG. Follow those; they're fantastic. They dig deep on that. Let's go a bit further back and find out profile. Yeah, so we've got Redux is another one. Sharon Davis is always good to follow. I am trying to find the Darlington nurses one. That's it. So it's spaced out words, Darlington Nurses Union. So and it's @Darlington Union. So here you go. There's just, I keep saying I'm going to finish, and I keep remembering other things. So the union that these nurses were in let them down. They just won't support them. I don't know exactly which union it was. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Unison, but I don't know whether it was them or not. So they had to set up their own union. They literally had to set their own union up, and they call themselves Darlington Nursing Union. Darlington Nursing Union. @Darlington Union, and that their accounts on X as well, so you can follow that. Yeah, Sharon Davis MBE is another good account to follow. Sharon Davis. Women's Rights Network is another account to follow. But once you start following these accounts, other accounts, obviously, if you know how X works, other accounts get suggested to you as well. And of course, you can always follow J.K. Rowling as well. It's really a good source of news. Once you start clicking into and following these accounts, all the others come up, and you'll be right up to date with a lot of the trans issues. TERFs Are Us is another good one as well. Peter Boghossian, You've seen the video that I did with Peter Boghossian. Hopefully, if you haven't, just go back a week or two. Colin Wright's another good one. Oh, also follow Andy No. So Andy, A-N-D-Y, and No spelt N-G-O. He's an Asian guy, Andy No, from America, and he's really onto the Antifa mob. He got attacked, and violently attacked. He was, you know, he feared for his life, and his account's fantastic. He's even been called to the White House to give evidence on Antifa, so that's a great account. Another one, Gays Against Groomers. Right, the lady that I interviewed, the lady that was the founder of that, called Jamie Michelle. Basically, this is you know, a group of gay people that are absolutely opposed to the trans agenda. You know, it's like, you know, the LGB without the T or the Q. Another one, Gay Not Queer. Sharon Davis. Of course, follow Graham Linehan as well on X. Libs of TikTok. Yeah, who was that? Thank you for suggesting that, Jade. Yeah, if you like Charlie Veitch, you know, Charlie Veitch, he doesn't go in Manchester now. He's going to different towns and cities around the UK because obviously, you know, it's not that safe for him in Manchester. So, is it Christian Concern? I think, are they the people that are supporting the Darlington nurses? I can't remember. I think it's Christian Concern. So yeah, they're just a few of the channels that I follow, or accounts that I follow on X. Okay, guys, that's 37 minutes, and it's 8:30. So check out, once I finish the live stream, check out that video with the latest one that I've just put on the channel, with that big guy identifying as a trans. Like I say, I do think that he's actually a victim of this. He's one of these poor autistic guys, but you know, I told him, you're a predator if you go in female spaces, and I stand by that, whether he's autistic or not. You might have noticed that I've got a little bit more hard line over the months. Seeing the devastation, talking to families, you know, that have been affected by this, it does harden you up. So I don't like to, or don't tend to mince my language like I did. You know, I didn't even want to call it a delusion before. It's a bloody delusion, isn't it? You know, and we shouldn't be affirming delusions. You know, I'm all for freedom, you know what I mean? But you know, I don't think that we should be, we should not be allowing people, I said this, you know, in videos gone by, we shouldn't be allowing delusional people to mutilate the bodies. You know, if somebody said, oh, you know, I don't like my leg, you want you to cut it off, you know, we shouldn't be doing that, should we? You wouldn't do it. Although I think there are cases of that in the past. Free to identify however you wish, as long as you don't adversely affect anybody else. And on that note, guys, I will bid you good night. Thank you.